How's it going, everybody? So this is just a quick video I wanted to make addressing a few things about the game, and I feel like a lot of people are misinformed about this, and I was actually talking about it in my stream earlier today. This will probably be uploaded the day after my stream, but that's alright. And one of those things was about who to 6-star first. I feel like, there was this thing going around early on in the game about 6-starring Farmer Monster as your first monster. And a lot of people went along with it at first. I even went along with it for quite a while. And I think recently, I'd say a few months ago, I started seeing kind of who you really should start working on rather than 6-starring some farmer monster like Rauk. I stopped suggesting Rauk big time. That was a big mistake on my part, and I apologize for that. But I stopped suggesting it months ago, and I feel like once the ball has started rolling, there's really not much we can do to stop it now. And I'm going to try my best to stop it, but this is kind of a suggestions guide on who do you 6-star first. Now, the reason I'm not on my Farmer Phil account is because I don't have that many monsters to really show you. On my main account, I can go through on, some of the farmables, on what you want to look for and kind of work on and whatnot. So this is just kind of going to try to help you on exactly what you should 6-star or look for in a 6-star. Now, this isn't just going to talk about your first 6-star, but also your 6-star ordering. Now, you guys are free to disagree with me, of course. Everyone tends to. There's always at least one person that disagrees with me, like my opinion on Amin, who is obviously de-ruined. And so, if you guys have a different opinion, leave one in the comment section below. I'm curious to see what you guys say, and we'll see how that goes. So, who I suggest who to 6-star? I certainly do not suggest doing a farmer 6-star as your first monster. And here's the first reason why. You don't need a 6-star monster to farm for you. You really don't. You could use something simple as like a 5-star monster. Like, let's say I went into hell mode and I used something, let's talk about farmable monsters. At 5-star, Wind Golem could do it, Water Golem could do it, Rauk could do it. There's many others. The one that I use on Farmer Phil, actually, Orang, the Wind Nine-Tailed Fox, can do it at 5-star. Most attack-based units, natural 4-stars, can do it at 4-star or at 5-star, or even sometimes 4-star, but not Hell mode. But 5-star, they can do it, stuff like that. Copper can do it at 5-star. Sigmaris can do it at 5-star, which is a fusible unit if you do actually end up getting that one early on, which you shouldn't. You should be getting Veramos for your first fusion. That's another thing I need to discuss in Farmer Phil, which is who do you fuse first, and that is definitely Veramos. Like, you really need to do Veramos first, okay? Oh, yeah, I'm running defense. I was like, why is that HP so low? Yeah, I'm running defense for, I was testing something out. Ignore that. But a lot of people tend to think that getting farming monsters like Shiho, Lagmarone, Orochi, Lucian, Julian, or even Tyrone, stuff like that, they tend to think that 6-starring a farming monster is the best choice. Now, of course, the reasoning behind it sounds pretty solid, of course. You go, okay, well, I want more 6-star monsters, so I want to do it faster. And while that may be true, let's think about a few things here. Let's say you use a 5-star monster. It's going to be around similar times because you don't have the runes to make it anything spectacular. Now, the stat increases from 5-star to 6-star are quite substantial, but if you can do it with a 5-star monster, more likely than not, it's going to be somewhere around the same time, maybe a little bit less, until you get some better runes when you're farming these hell mode stages. Now, this is not just exclusive to Tamor. It works in Hideni. A lot of people do Hideni. I farm in Hideni, actually, farming stage 5 hell mode with Orang on my Farmer Phil account. And I do have a lot of that. It works perfectly at 5-star, so I didn't waste any material 6-starring it. And so you guys are probably thinking about it right now, like, well, obviously you want your first 6-star to be a farmer so they can do it more consistently, and you want to do it really fast and all this stuff. But let's think about that for a second, okay? You don't have the runes yet, most likely, and let's say you're trying to build up a team, right? And you're starting to try to build up giants, blah, 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 blah. Now, my strategy is usually to kind of take a giant leap of faith which is going to be somewhat my next Farmer Fill episode. So I like to jump from Giants B7 to Giants B10, which is easily doable with Veramos Fusion, which I am now able to do on Farmer Fill. I just need to fuse a few of those natural 4 stars and complete the fusion. And of course, you know, once you do that, you'll be able to farm Giants B10, and a lot of other people have done this too in very, very short amount of time. I've been inactive on Farmer Phil for a little bit, and of course it's been about 2 months since I started the account. I'd say I've probably gotten a total of 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks total playtime on him, maybe less. And for that, of course, that's my fault, but I was super busy in December and November, so kind of, you know, understandable to an extent on how much I was actually able to play, and I didn't make much progress on my main account either, you know, obviously. But it's kind of one of those things where, you realize if I'm able to farm Giants B10 for some pretty amazing runes, because the drop rate from B10 to B7 is quite a big difference. If I'm able to do that kind of thing at an early level, let's say level 32, like my Farmer Fill account, using Veramos reps, the difference in runes is ginormous. It is amazing. And getting those kinds of runes, including the mana drops from the runes that aren't that great, like flat stat 6 stars and stuff like that, well, now you have more mana to upgrade those runes. Now, of course, I'm always talking about how important runes are, and they are, and it's always about getting your runes upgraded, okay? So, let's say you do a farming 6-star like Lucian or Julian, assuming you have one, or even Copper, or Rauk. For some reason, you listen to the pub channels and you go, Rauk, okay? Well, now what? You don't have runes. He's not really going to help. None of these are really going to help you in Giants, because you need to survive before you can start using units like these in Giants. And you can't farm the runes for them, really. And now you're on a slow climb up for better runes. It's going to take you longer. You can probably make more 6 stars, sure, but that won't help you without the runes. And that's the thing where I come in with stuff like Veramos and Belladillion. Now, these are my top 2 choices for the first 6-star, and the reason is, if you look at every single team in Giants B10 and Dragons B10 for the very, very, very first team, I will tell you 9 times out of 10, Veramos and Belladillion will be in Giants B10 and Dragons B10, which honestly are the only 2 places you should be focusing on when you farm runes until you start getting later into endgame content where you can focus on Necro, where Bella is still very usable. And that is why I suggest Veramos and Belladillion. Now, most of the time, Belladillion will be able to be 6-star first, because Veramos is quite difficult to fuse. So most of the times you can 6-star Bella, use a 5-star farming rep, and it'll be pretty much the same outcome, but now you've got a very, very good healer that can survive quite often. And most of the time I see my Belladillion soloing, finishing off a lot of stages to clear it for the crystals in scenario. Now, of course, Veramos is actually quite a good farming rep. His second skill has a really low cooldown. He does some decent damage on his first skill, puts on dots, and of course he cleanses. Now, he was a lot better when he could heal from the cleansing, but of course he's still very viable. He can farm Fame on Hell, and of course he is pretty much one of the most game-changing monsters in the game. And this is the difference between going down that long, slow, free-to-play path and cutting corners. Getting monsters like Veramos up and ready as soon as possible, and Belladillion as soon as possible, is how you cut corners, because these 2 units are, I would say, the 2 most used units for Kairos Dungeons. And Kairos Dungeons is the beginning to TOA, Rift, Arena, etc. Because with better runes, you can basically do better in the game. And that is my reasoning for 6-starring Bella and Veramos first. Those 2, in no particular order. Whichever one comes up first for you, I'd probably say Veramos is better for first 6-star, but he's harder to get if you're ready to 6-star. I personally think Belladillion. And of course, you need to start getting units like Bernard and Shannon. I don't have Shannon. I need Shannon on my main account. But Bernard, Shannon, Veramos, Belladon, even Darien, he can help you in Giant Speed 10 while you're trying to get a more tanky team with better runes, because he does reduce damage, he reduces attack power, and he puts on some defense break, and Belladon can seize that attack buff from the boss, which is really, really helpful. Shannon also brings in really amazing kit. Shannon, one of the most underrated monsters, farmable monsters in the game by far. Honestly, she is amazing. She can be used in Giants, she can be used in TOA, and a lot of places. One of the most underrated and underused units in the game, and I regrettably foddered a max skilled 5-star one, and I probably shouldn't have. Honestly, I would have rather 6-starred that than Almond, and I'm not going to go into an Almond rant before channel. I'm not going to name the channel, but a certain channel comes and tries to bite my head off for saying Almond is garbage. And it's just like, I see a lot of these, suggestions in the pub channels, and by pub channels I mean the 100s, and a lot of them are about 6-starring your farmables first. Now, again, like I've recently said, you don't need to 6-star a monster for it to farm for you. You really don't. A 3-star monster, Rauk, could do it at a 5-star level in Tamor Hell. Pretty fast, too. And it's been proven. It's been shown on, I think, Nick DeGreek's channel as well. 5-star Rauk can farm pretty easily in Hell Mode 4, or even, I think, Hell Mode 2 or 1, somewhere in there. But I think actually it's better to do it in stages that don't have Armadas or whatever. Armada? I don't remember. But because it reduces by 50% on the fire monsters. But you can do it on maybe stage 2 or something like that. And it's pretty fast, and it's efficient, and you don't need to 6-star him for it to work. And what does this do? It opens up so many levels for you. Honestly, building up your supports when you're, a lower level, which I already suggested on my Farmer Phil, is one of the most game-changing experiences I've had for Farmer Phil. Being able to have a survivable team unlocks so many doors for you. And one example, I'm currently on stage 50 on Farmer Phil, a level 32 account, halfway through TOA already. So I'm probably going to have to extend the Farmer Phil series a little bit so that I start working on TOA hard mode, because I think, I'm probably going to be done with TOA pretty shortly. After I make, Giant Speed 10 team, get the Veramos fused, I'll probably make a few 6-stars, plus 15 a few runes, and just like that, I'll probably be done with TOA hard. Sorry, TOA normal, not hard mode, TOA normal. So I think I'm going to have to make this Farmer Fail series extended all the way into TOA hard mode with farmables, all the natural 3-stars, and fusibles, of course. So we'll see how that goes. But it goes to show that making a survivable team and being able to unlock stuff like rune farming in Giant Speed 10, and working on Dragon Speed 10 after Giant Speed 10 is done, stuff like that is what makes you progress. 6-starring monsters like Julian and Almond is not what makes you progress. That slows you down more than you realize, and a lot of people respect these monsters and say that they're good, and then later on in the game, when they find better options and even farmable options that are better than them, they realize that it is not what most people say. And that's the problem. And that is the problem currently in most of the pub channels, and I really hope this video gets out to a lot of players on who you should be focusing your 6-stars on. Honestly, as a beginner level player, I'd say you only need 1 to 2 damage dealers, and you should start working on your buffers like Megan, Shannon, Bernard, your healers, Belladon, Chasoon, Emma, stuff like that. And even, just support monsters in general. Those kinds of monsters, those ones help you improve so much. Okay? So just keep that in mind, guys. I really, really, really hope you take this to heart and realize that, a lot of the suggestions and advice you receive in pub channels and even on some other media sources can be quite harmful to your account. So make sure you watch other videos, and I suggest you watch other videos besides mine. Okay, I'm not saying I have all the right advice. I'm just saying that if you want to get advice, start looking up towards those higher ranked players and see what they would do. And as always, I keep to my little phrase that goes pretty far, and I'm gonna have to thank Claytano for this one. WWBD, what would Barian do? think about that one, guys. I'll see you in the next episode. Keep it real, and as always, stay awesome.